Good morning and welcome to another episode of Mr. Block's Design Rescue. Today we're going to jump back into Photoshop. We're going to play around with a small project that will give you a little more practice, playing with images, adjusting the resolution of those images, and creating a composition that just sort of plays with those images in a fun way. So here we go. Let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to do is create a brand new file. Click on New File at the top left. And we want to set this to inches. I'd like you to set it to 10 by 10 inches and then set the resolution to 300 dpi. All right, there's our main artboard. We're going to go out and find some images. I'll use unsplash.com. Here we are at Unsplash, so let's go ahead and take a look for a few images. These should be outdoor related, so I'll just put in the word outdoor at first here, and let's see. I want to do something a little bit different. We're going to do outdoor camp, and there we go. We're going to look for images that we can download. Don't click on the ones that say unlock. Just look for the ones that have the down arrow. Here's one. Look for about 5 of them. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. You do not have to do the same search that I did. You can look for a different search altogether. Look for trees, look for sky, look for birds, look for anything that's outdoor related. Okay. Okay, the first thing that I want to do back in Photoshop is we'll just go ahead and, instead of importing the images into this artboard, let's open them individually. We want to make sure that they are set to 300 dpi. So I've got my 5 images. I'll just select them. By the way, if you select off to the left, if you click and drag, you may select all of them. Another way to select images would be to press the Shift key and click the top image and then click the bottom image. It'll select them all. One last way to select images or to select files is by holding the Control button, and by doing that you can actually select and jump over certain images that you don't want to select. I can select something down here or over here as well by holding Control. We're just going to grab all of these and open them up. Now you'll notice at the top they'll open in their own tab. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that they're in their own tab so that they're not loading into this main artboard that we opened, that we created. So let's go into each image and go to the image drop-down button and look for the image size selection. We need to change this resolution to 300 dpi. Make sure that it's set to resample. 300. Okay, we need to reset the, we need to go ahead and set the resolution on this image. So if you go up to the go up to image, image size, uncheck resample, and then click on the resolution. Let's go ahead and set that to 300. Notice the inches is pretty large in size, so I think that's perfect. That's exactly what we need. Click OK. And just to check image resolution, it is set to 300 resolution. Okay, let's go over to the next one. Do the same thing. Image size. Make sure resample is not set. And then 300 dpi, click OK. Do that to the others as well. Finally, we'll do this to the last one. Size. Okay. And there we have it. Now what we're going to do is we need to grab each image and bring them into our new artboard. So I'm going to start with the one on the far right here. And the quick way to do it, actually there are 2 different ways. If you select the image and simply click and drag, and then pull it straight up, and then pull down and drop it right here. Okay, so that image is now in place right there. Another way to do that is, let's go to the next image. Control A selects that image, and then Control C copies that image. You go over here and Control V pastes that image. That's another way to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and just click and drag it up once again and drop it back down. Do that here, click and drag it up. Those are just the easiest way, I think, for me. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images in our layer panel. And what we want to do is I'm going to turn off, let's go through and see which one we want in the center. We want one main image in the center, and then 4 images around the perimeter. And so what I like this one for the center. But I'm going to shrink it down a bit, Control T, and then if you grab the top, you can actually pull it down and it'll scale itself nicely. And I want this to be about that big. Okay, from top to bottom, we want just about that much space on the top and bottom. Bring it up until you see that pink line. And actually, if you're not seeing that pink line, that's your smart guide. And we can go to guides. Let's see. And make sure it's in show. Make sure that smart guides is checked. And that will give you, I think I just unchecked it. Let's see here, show. Yeah, there we go. That'll make sure that when you go to the center of the artboard, it will tell you where you are. Now what we need to do is crop this down so that the sides are the same distance as the top and bottom. Let's grab the rectangular crop tool and just eye it, you know, just think about right there is good. It doesn't have to be perfect. Make sure you're on the right layer and then click on the layer mask button. All right, now let's open up the next image above that and get your move tool. Control T to transform it. We're going to bring this down, and I don't want it to be too small. We're going to crop it around this guy right here. We don't want him to disappear completely. I just want to reduce the size, and then actually what I'd like to do is show you how to make a perfect square. Click to drag and draw your rectangle, and then hold the Shift key. All right, and then you're able to manipulate that and move it where you want it, and add a layer mask to it. Now press Control T. I do want to shrink it down to there, and then either press Enter or your check mark at the top there. Okay, and let's just position it here for now. Do the same thing to the others. All right, so we've got this. I've got these two guys down below here. If you do Control T, by the way, and I just did, and you don't see the scaling nodes, press the Alt key and roll your mouse wheel backwards. That means you just need to zoom out. The image was just so large. I think that's a good size right there because I want to do a perfect square just around these guys. Actually, I'm going to just kind of do just about like that so I get part of that whole scene, and then add a layer mask right there. Reduce it down so that it's approximately the same size as the other image. All right, and let's put that in the other corner. Do that to your other 2 images. See? Bring it down a little bit and then make a perfect square. Put it right around your image, wherever you want it, and then press Layer Mask. Control T once again, and then resize that down to the final size, approximately right there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Make it close, though. And we'll turn on the last image, Control T, and then get your selection tool. Let's do that a little bigger. I'm going to do that whole image right there. And then Control T to shrink down that final size. That's good. Okay, now we want to start making things a little bit more precise in their size. So what we want to do is make sure that the center image is set to 8 inches by 8 inches, okay? The way to do that is to go ahead and let's do a fixed size. If you have your rectangular selection tool, let's choose fixed size. And then we're going to change the ruler. Notice I've got it set to pixels. Let's make sure that it's set to inches. Just simply right click on your ruler and choose inches. Now for the width and height, we're going to select 8 inches. Just go 8 IN, and then over here 8 IN, and we're making sure that we're on that center image. Okay, go ahead and turn off your other images, the visibility on the other layers. If you click at the top and simply drag straight down, you can just, instead of clicking each one, you can do that if you'd like, but you can turn them all off just by going click and drag, or click and drag, just like that. Or you can do them individually. All right, so back here, we're going to change the size of our, or let's just make sure it's set to 8 inches by 8 inches. We've got that set up here. Watch this. When we click, we are given the 8 inches by 8 inches. Now let's just place it in there. And what I'd like you to do is right-click on your layer mask, delete the mask. Now notice the image isn't large enough now, so we scaled it down a little too much. That's perfectly fine. Let's add a layer mask. Unlock the two. Just click on that little lock between the image and your layer mask. Okay, and then make sure that your brackets are back on the layer. I'm sorry, the image thumbnail. Grab your move tool and Control T. And let's scale that up, and you'll see that it'll start to disappear behind that mask. There we go. We've got a perfectly 8 by 8 shaped image in the middle. I'm going to move that over center about like that, and then put the lock back, or the link, I'm sorry, back between these two images. So the images in the corners, they are fine. Let's just go and turn them on, and we're going to do a little bit of funky rotations on them. So let's grab this top one, Control T, go to the outer corner and just outside the corner node, and let's do that, give it a little twist, and hit the check mark. Control T, do that to the others as well. Don't do too much, just just a little bit of an angle, just like that. There we go. Now for the background color, we're going to add a color that is taken right out of the colors from the very center. And I think the sky, I'd like to grab the sky color here and integrate that into the background. So go ahead and select the background layer. One thing I'd like you to notice is that when you click on a layer and add a new layer, it will actually put that new layer just above the one that is selected. If I select layer 4, and add a new layer, it puts it just above layer 4. I'm going to select the background layer. We're not going to add a new layer that way. We're going to do it a different way. Go ahead and grab the vector tool, the rectangular shape tool right down here. We're going to then click fill. Click on this little guy in the upper right corner, and that gives us the eyedropper. We're going to grab the blue, I think, somewhere in there. I think that blue right there, and then click OK. And then just from outside your artboard, draw all the way across, and we'll get that color. Okay. Now, if you look back in your layers panel, let's just pull that out here, you'll see now that there is a rectangular shape, and this little icon down the bottom here tells you that it's a vector. The greatest part about this, rather than, and we could simply, let me turn this off and show you, add a new layer, grab the paint bucket, find the color by clicking on the little foreground color, click OK, and then drop it in place. Now, the difference between what we just did there, notice the two layers. This is a regular layer, this is a vector layer. On the regular layer, if we wanted to change that color, you have to go back in, find a new color, and then drop it in. Okay, I'm going to delete that layer, but if I wanted to change the color on my vector shape, watch this. You just simply double click on the thumbnail, and it brings up the color picker. I can choose a different color. Double click, choose the color, It's just that easy. That's the benefit of using the vector shapes. And I think I'm going to go with, let's see, notice all I'm doing is clicking and holding as I pull around. I like these dark colors. I'm going to go with that. There we go. That is my composition. Okay, that is all done. And what I'd like you to do now is we're going to save it out as a high resolution image, and we're going to use a TIFF image. A TIFF, T-I-F-F, is a rastered format, where JPEG is a lossy format. When you save it as a JPEG, it will lose some of the detail to bring that file size down. But a TIFF image is actually a large, it keeps all of that color detail. It doesn't reduce the size at all, so you'll have a very large size image. Let's go to File and Save As. What I'd like you to do is change the drop-down menu to TIFF. Okay, and then make sure you know where it's going to. I'm putting it into my Downloads folder. Click, let's give it a good name. Block David. And we'll call this Scene. All right, now it'll give you this dialog box. You do not have to worry about anything in here. Let's just leave it exactly as it is. Click OK. And you now can see at the top here, it tells you you've got a TIFF image. All right, and that is a large sized image, and that should hold all of your layers, all of your effects, all of your details, and everything. Great job, you guys. See you in the next video.